Hey.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Awesome.
How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Nice. Well, that was it. No. That would be really fast.
Alright, bye.
Yay! Yeah, we are going to talk about your games Champions of Breakfast and Heartbound.
Awesome.
It's the first time I will be doing an interview where two games are a little bit inside it, so that's weird, but it will be cool, I guess.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So question number one is, are Champions of Breakfast and Heartbound the only games you have worked on?
No, actually, I've worked in the gaming industry for about 8 years. Oh, really? Here, let me see if I can turn my mic up, sorry.
And now I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, maybe I was just talking too low. But yeah, no, I've been in the gaming industry for about 8 years now. I worked at Blizzard Entertainment for 7.5 years. And I worked on a ton of games there, a bunch of different stuff, a bunch of different jobs. It was a lot of fun. And then I quit, and I went to Amazon Game Studio, and I worked on Lumberyard, the game engine. And then I left that to go make indie games. I made Champions of Breakfast, which is out on Steam, and I have Heartbound, which is our RPG, which is up on Greenlight.
Mm-hmm. For what platforms did you develop Champions of Breakfast?
For what?
Platforms.
Oh, Champions of Breakfast works on PC, Mac, and Linux, so it's only for those. But it has full controller support as well, so if you like playing with a controller, you can go and do that. And I'm actually going to be adding some features for more controller support related stuff pretty soon, because people want to have the ability to auto-fire, because they don't like holding the trigger down all the time, so I'm going to put that in.
Nice. Since I play with the controller, I think that's nice. For what platforms are you developing Heartbound?
Heartbound will be for the same platforms, actually. We're going to do PC, Mac, and Linux. Hilariously, both games run on a phone at 60 FPS, which makes me laugh, but I'm probably not going to release them on a phone.
You should do that. People are stupid enough to buy it.
Jeez.
How do you like each platform on its own?
Honestly, I think that PC and Linux are great. And I think that working for a game on Mac is absolutely annoying. Having to go through, you have to get a license from Apple, and it costs you $100 a year. And then you have to do certificates and sign your code every time that you make a build. And if anything in that process goes wrong, the game looks completely correct, but it won't run on anybody's machine, and it is awful. So you have to jump through a bunch of hoops to be able to develop on Mac.
Well, I would just say, all Mac users have to buy a Windows PC.
Just use Boot Camp and play it on Windows.
Yeah, do that. What type of education have you done?
I actually went to college to be an entomologist, which is an insect scientist, and then I quit and became a hacker, which is actually what my job is. So I was a senior red team specialist when I worked at Blizzard, which is an offensive security guy. So running, jumping, climbing trees, picking locks, and hacking your network, all that kind of fun stuff.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was absolutely a lot of fun, actually. It's you get to do a bunch of ridiculous stuff every day in that line of work.
Yeah, I think that could be just fun. How many games, I meant how many people have worked on Champions of Breakfast?
So Champions of Breakfast, we had a couple people for localization. Actually, I need to pull up the credits because there's quite a few of us. It was myself doing all the programming and game design. We had a guy named Case, or is JP Boss, as he's known online, and he did all of the music and the sound effects, and he did a ton of Foley work too, which was really cool. So like the whisk, for instance, when you're shooting on the whisk and it makes that like whisk chain link sound, that's actually a bike chain, and then the shooting sound is a card in the spokes of a bike wheel. So there's a bunch of really silly stuff like that, and like when you get hit, that's actually a toaster being hit with something. So it's real. They're real Foley sounds. So they're just like actual kitchen implements. But then we had Shay do all of the art. So Brady, Shay, Lemmer, and she does all the art for Heartbound as well. And well, she does all of the majority of the art now. We have another person that does animation work for us now. And then we had Marco Bayer. He did all the translating into German. And then we had another guy. God, I can't remember his name. He was only with us for a short time. I have to go look. He did all the Russian translation. And I gotta say, translating a game is a really daunting task at first. And I screwed up when we were making Champions of Breakfast. Never create a custom font. If you're a game developer and you're just starting out and you're like, I want to put my game in all these different languages, don't make a custom font, because we made a font out of pancakes, and then we localized the game into Russian and German. And let me tell you, drawing pancakes for Cyrillic characters and for German characters is not great, because now I can't actually release the game in China unless I go make a bunch of Chinese pancakes. That's a huge amount of work.
Wow, that sounds like, well, yeah. I hope you didn't make the font for Heartbound.
Oh no, not at all. I actually wait, no. The text font I did for Heartbound. I did make that. I made it by hand too. I just built something real simple. I might end up changing it. I don't know yet. I'm going to be doing some what are called A/B tests, where like I try 2 different fonts and see how people react. But the reason I made it is I just wanted it to be really simple. However, now that the game is becoming more popular on Greenlight, I'm going to be exposing all of the strings for the game, which is all the text in the whole game, in files that players will be able to change. And the reason why I'm doing that is so if the game becomes very popular, the fan community will be able to translate the game into whatever language they want to, and it will just work in the game. So because of that, I'm probably going to be switching the font over to a Unicode font.
Nice.
Yeah, I really want to make it very easy for the community to be able to do stuff with the game, like mod it to be the language that they want, things like that, because I know how hard that can be.
Yeah, it would be nice to play a game in Dutch one time. Really, all games get translated to German, and they all go in English and French and Russian and Chinese, and yeah, Dutch games don't exist. It's really not so nice. You once told me that Champions of Breakfast was developed in only 28 days. How is that possible?
Actually, it was 24 days. You're gonna like that. It's 4 less days than that. So there was a joke that was going around the team that we would make. Like, we were working on Heartbound when I was still at Blizzard, because it was on what's called the side project committee. So you're allowed to work on personal stuff as long as it's approved. And once I left, I was like, oh man, I really got to get something out there, and I got to feel what it's like to release a game as an indie company. You know, and that's a very different thing than releasing something as a AAA. You have to like take a lot of other things into account. You don't have a huge support team. You don't have PR. You have to do it all yourself. And not only that, you have to release something on somebody else's platform. We had to release our game on Steam, which we don't own. We don't know how it works, and we've never released a game on it. So I was like, okay, let's make something really fast, really simple. Let's make an arcade game. And the joke on the team was like, oh, let's have a toaster that shoots toast. I was like, done, let's do it. And after we came up with the idea to make an arcade game, within the first 6 hours, I had built a prototype out of gray blocks. And that's a really important step. If you're ever making a game, make it in gray blocks. Do it. Like, don't wait for art, don't wait for music, don't wait for any of that. Make it in gray blocks, and then make the game and actually play it as gray blocks. Because if it's not fun when it's a bunch of like lame boxes, it's not going to be fun with a bunch of art. So we did that. The gray boxes were fun. I kept adding weird gray box powers, and then we had like gray boxes shooting boxes, and it was awesome. And I think a week later we had actual like art for the game. It was like really just kind of rudimentary art, and we started building out the UI and things like that, and started going from there. And we ended up releasing the game into early access, and I think that was a great idea because we got to build our community kind of slowly. I was like, because a lot of people are turned away by early access, so like, I don't want to buy that. And I was like, great, because it's not ready. That's why it's in early access, you know. And we built up a bunch of features after release, and it was really fun. People really dug the game. We actually had somebody 3D print a toaster for us. That was kind of cool. It's like weird fan stuff that I really like. I love that kind of shit.
Yeah, if someone 3D prints weird things for you, that I can imagine that's fun. So, but did the font slow you down since you had to make every letter and all?
Did what slow me down?
The font.
Oh yeah, absolutely. we could have released the game faster had we not done localization at the very beginning, but the German community loved the game. Like, we released with English and German, and the German community really enjoyed the game, and I'm really glad that we ended up doing it. Honestly, as much as I hate having to go and build that pancake font in a bunch of different ways, it was worth it. It was absolutely worth it. I'm really glad that everybody over there got to play the game and really enjoy it. And now we actually have a lot of people who are Russian play the game as well because of the localization for that. And it's just good. It's a really good thing for your game to localize into other languages. It's awesome, but it's a lot of work. So
okay,
do it, but be aware.
Well, I would never make a game in Russian because I can't read it, so I don't know what people put into it.
I also can't read it, so hey, I gotta trust the translator did his work right, didn't put a bunch of just profanity in there.
Yeah, you never know what will be written over there.
Yeah, totally.
How many people are working on Heartbound right now?
So right now on Heartbound, we have 4 core people working on it. We've got myself, we've got Shay again, she's doing all of the main art for everything. We've got Hannah Odell, and she's doing animation work for us, and she's the assistant artist right now. And then we've got Stein van Wakeren. I'm hoping that I said that name right. He's from the Netherlands, and he's doing all of the music and the sound effects, and his work is absolutely phenomenal.
Nice, I'm from the Netherlands as well, so...
Sweet! Yeah, I hope I'm saying his name right. It's very difficult because I'm a lame American guy.
You said his first name all right, yeah.
Okay.
The last names,
right.
Last names can be different. Sometimes I meet Dutch people with a last name, and I'm like, "What is your name? Can you repeat that, please?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great though. Like his work is really phenomenal. Shay's work is really great, and Hannah's she's animating everything to make it really cool looking, so like it brings stuff to life. And I think we've got a really solid team with what we're doing, and it's mostly me going, hey, I need these things, and then everyone like piles in and tries to build everything. I go build the game, and I'm doing as much as I can to keep portions of the game away from them to see if they discover them, for like when we're playtesting internally and stuff. So they still get a sense of discovery even though they're working on the game, which is really cool.
Wow. That's actually pretty weird that you let your team discover things in the game.
Oh yeah, no, it's extremely important to get that kind of data. Like when you're building a game and you go, oh man, I bet a player would do this. 9 out of 10 times you're dead wrong. Like people are going to do things that you did not expect at all. And a big part of building a game like this with so many options and so many like storyline paths is you need to make it so that you know what those different options are, like from other people's perspectives. So if I throw the game at them and I go, hey, go do stuff, and I watch them play and I see what they're doing, I can add additional storyline points or jokes or things like that to areas that I didn't even think about, but they tried, We actually had one the other day where someone sat in the hallway in Heartbound and just flipped the light switch on and off, trying to annoy the dad in his room. And I was like, man, I didn't put anything in for that, and now I'm totally going to put something in for that.
Well, the first time I played your alpha twice, and the second time I recorded it. Well, the first time I didn't know that I had to put on a light. I was like, why is the dog not waking up? So when I finally have found a light, and I just ran to the kitchen, ran outside, and I have been wandering outside for like 10, maybe more minutes, just looking around what was all out there.
That's funny. Yeah, I really like the little things like that. Like I tried to set the tone for exploration pretty early on. Like if you can't find the light switch, Baron actually says, like it says, oh, he's out like a light, and it's supposed to be tiny cues like that. And I get that sometimes people are going to miss those, and I have to just be okay with that, as a game dev. Just be like, well, I tried, like.
Yeah, I was just like walking outside. Well, there's nothing here. What should I do here? And then I went back inside, and I was like, oh, that was it.
Yeah. Oh, after you did the garbage can. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was already walking outside, just trying to find things.
There's a couple.
I went back inside with the axe thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the axe is something that right now in the alpha it only adds a couple dialogue but it will play a very major part in the beta. Picking up things like that change not only interactions with objects in the world, so like your dialogue and things like that, they can open up other storyline paths, and they can also change how combat works. So there's pretty major differences anytime that you do something small like that. The idea behind the design is to basically do the butterfly effect in a lot of different ways. And those may just be one-liner jokes that happen, like if you turn on the stove and then it makes fun of like the stove being on once the power goes out. They may just be small things like that, but they could be very major story things as well. It really depends on whatever you're working, like whatever you messed with, you know.
Wow, okay. That's a lot.
Yeah.
What engines did you use for these games?
I actually used Game Maker Studio for both games. I had heard from a lot of people that it had been used for games like Risk of Rain and Nuclear Throne and Undertale, and I was like, well, you know, I mean, if it's used for those, it must be pretty alright, pretty easy to use, especially with things like with people that it's their first game and things like that. And then I heard just a ton of flack from the IndieGame development community going like, oh, Game Maker Studio is terrible, and I was like, I'm gonna go check it out. So I did a test, and when I was working on Champions of Breakfast, I was like, let's see if this engine will work properly. And I built my own physics engine in it, because I didn't like the one that was built into Game Maker. It was kind of sloppy, weird, caused a bunch of lag. So I built my own in the engine itself, and I put 3,000 physics objects on screen that all bounced against each other, and I put it on a phone, and it ran at 60 FPS. And I went, well, this is amazing, so I'm just going to use this because it's really easy and it's really performant, and I ended up making both games in it.
Okay. Well, what was the biggest challenge when you produced Champions of Breakfast?
Pancakes. Those damn pancake letters. That, and I think the achievements, like when you go from Greenlight to a full game on Steam, Valve gives you access to a ton of other stuff. And that ton of other stuff is like achievements and trading cards and, you know, backgrounds and all that kind of cool stuff and icons and things that you can get by doing that whole extra side of the game. Building that stuff, we didn't know what the sizes were when we were in Greenlight. So in order to release our game, we had to go build all of that from scratch in the like final week before our launch. And that was tough, but we got through it and we did it. So, I mean, hey.
Wow, a full game in a month. Wow. If you do that every month, you will have like a real big Steam collection within, not so much time.
Maybe. I mean, like, or we'll just have like a bunch of really lame games.
You don't have to. I mean, Champions of Breakfast is not a bad game.
No, it's true. It actually still has 100% positive reviews on Steam, which is cool. We actually sold copies on Humble Bundle and a couple other spots. Like we sold keys, but Valve changed their rules. So if you bought your game with a key, your review is defaulted to hidden, which is really weird for like all users. So only people's reviews that like they actually bought the game on Steam, only their reviews are shown right now. But still, we still have 100% positive reviews either way. We just lost half of them when they changed that.
I can see both, but I had to change my settings, yeah. But I did that.
Most people don't change their settings. They have no idea that that's a thing. They just look at the number in the top right and go, this has a bajillion positive reviews, I'll buy it.
Yay! Well, at least you don't get angry if someone leaves a bad review.
No, I don't. I want them to. It would be great, honestly. Like, there's two types of bad reviews. There's people that are like, oh, I hate you, get off the internet. You know, like those aren't helpful. And then there's bad reviews that are like, hey, this part of the game really sucked, or I didn't like this monster, or, you know, like they call something out that they did not have fun with, or something that was preventing them from playing the game, or, you know, those kind of things are awesome. You know, tell developers when those things happen, because if you don't, they can't make the game better. Like, we only have so much visibility. We can't think of every single person's possible like gameplay style and things like that. Like, it's actually amazing. Controller support ended up coming out of a lot of people who wanted to play the game that were disabled. They could only play games with controller. There was like 5 or 6 people that contacted me very early in the development of the game. They were like, hey, you know, I really want to play this arcade game, and I don't have a very good range of motion on my hands because, you know, I'm disabled. And I was like, well, I will definitely put controller support in for that. I think in the first week after launch, we ended up putting controller support for those people, and it ended up being fantastic.
Wow. That people just come to you like, hey, I want controller support. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely the case. We had a lot of people. There are people that try to scam us for keys every day. That's the thing. And then we have people that come to us and go like, hey, I want to be able to play this game. I want to have this feature. I want to do this stuff. Or they talk in the forums and they ask for that kind of stuff. And I do my best to respond to as many people as I possibly can. You know, I'm just one guy, so I'm probably not going to be able to do that for all social media everywhere. But I've always got like Twitter and our Steam forums and Reddit open all the time, and I'm always trying to respond to people as soon as I get messages in. But I gotta sleep sometimes.
Yeah, sleep is really important.
But yeah, building in new features, a lot of those features are going to be community driven, especially on indie games like this, because we don't have giant teams that do market research to go and add new features and stuff like that. It's me, you know, and that's it.
Well, you need more me's.
Probably. I'd fight with myself. I don't know if I'd do that.
Yeah, you can clone yourself into 4 or something.
Nobody needs that. We don't need more of that.
Once you told me you just developed Champions of Breakfast for fun, why? Why didn't you just go for like a little RPG and then for Heartbound, but just Champions of Breakfast? Honestly, it's a weird game, so.
Yeah, no, honestly, I didn't feel like we were ready. We hadn't released a game as an indie company yet. We hadn't felt what it was like to release a game on Steam. We'd never done Greenlight before. We'd never run a Kickstarter before. We'd never done any of that stuff. But we still haven't run a Kickstarter. We're going to be doing that for Heartbound. That'll be a new adventure kind of thing. But, you know, we'd never done any of this stuff before. So I was like, let's make something very small, something that's really manageable, something we can do in 1 month that people may find fun. And we tried to make a game that we had fun playing. I've got over 100 hours of gameplay into it now, let me tell you. I think that's actually one of the biggest pieces of advice that actually I can have for somebody who is trying to build games. Just make something small. Make something super small that you can do. Don't worry about if it's amazing. Don't worry about if it's beautiful or anything like that. Just worry about if it's fun. You know, I look at other games that are out there that have very minimal graphics, like Thomas Was Alone. Awesome game. Really cool adventure game. Using only blocks. That's fantastic. That's really cool, you know? And anyone can make those kind of games. They just got to go do it and not worry about it.
Did you get any help from the industry to develop and promote Champions of Breakfast?
Nope, none at all. Not a single bit. Once I left the AAA industry, that's what it is. They would not expend their resources on small guys, and it probably wouldn't even be appropriate for them to do so. Honestly. We're a different company, you know.
Yeah. And how is your experience with Champions of Breakfast helping you with Heartbound right now?
Oh, it's actually awesome. A lot of the stuff like building in Game Maker, I've learned a lot of things about how to manage data and like all that boring back-end stuff. But on top of that, like I know how to interact with the community better now, where we can actually talk to people on Twitter, what kind of things people like to see, what kind of content they want. And, you know, I'm ready now for once our green light goes through, because we're ranked 25 right now, so I'm pretty sure we're going to get green lit, you know. But like, I know exactly what we need to do after we get green. I know how to release the game after that. I know how the whole build process works. Like, all of that was extremely helpful. And then on top of that, like, our combat system evolved out of me learning how to build powers appropriately and what powers are kind of fun and like what things feel overpowered in Champions of Breakfast. So being able to do that, it's all been a great help. You know, all of that experience builds on itself. And that's why I implore you, if you're going to make a game, make something small. You're going to learn so much.
Okay. What types of games do you play in your free time?
I have free time? Where is that? Actually, I play EVE Online when I want to hate myself, because I like having a really difficult space exploration kind of experience. I used to be part of Goon Swarm before that collapsed. Hey, Goon Swarm. We owned like half the galaxy. It was fantastic, and then our whole corporation deflated like a flan in the cupboard like a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago. Yeah, no, that I love that game. It's really difficult. It's really hard, you know. And then I like playing World of Warcraft when I want to have like a more easy kind of experience. I'm really into that. Just like I can press buttons, things explode. I play a mage, so I get to sit in the back and see the whole fight. It's really cool to see all the art, really blow stuff up. But then aside from that, I play a ton of older RPGs. I usually replay a lot of those old games like Super Mario RPG and the Mother series, Secret of Mana. Secret of Mana is actually my favorite game of all time. Love that game. You know, these older RPGs, and then any type of newer RPG I can find. Like, if some indie company comes out with a new RPG, I'm almost always going to buy it and play it. I love them because you can see in what they built, you know, the things they were passionate about, the things that worked, the things that didn't quite work, and then, you know, change your designs based upon that, because you learn every time you play a game, and you learn every time you make it.
Yeah, well, that is yeah. I played AAA RPGs and indie RPGs, and the indie RPGs mostly have a better story.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that a lot of the time. I'm seeing a lot of, you know, major RPG style games coming out of the AAA, and most of them are very sandboxy. You know, games like Fallout 4, awesome. You know, but to me it's a huge sandbox. It's very much less about the story. Same things with things like Skyrim. You know, the story is very light on those, and you just get a huge sense of exploration. But when I want a really heavy storyline driven kind of game, I play indie RPGs. You know, games like Off. Off is a really cool example of that. Such a weird world. It's a free game, and it's super fantastic and strange. And I love weird little games like that.
You should have seen me play Skyrim. I was like doing all side quests, and then I was like, hey, this is the end boss of the game. Well, I'm done now.
Yeah, totally. I think the weirdest thing about that game was like everything leveled up. Like everything leveled up with you, and I was like, man, I'm gonna play this game as a locksmith, because I pick locks. It's like part of what I did for my job, you know? And I was like, I'm gonna do a locksmith thing. I'm gonna be like super roguey and thief-like, and I leveled up my locksmith or lockpicking super high, and then I went out into the world, and there was these dudes that just kicked my ass because they were super high level now, because they thought that I was super high level, but all I knew how to do was pick locks.
No, that didn't happen to me, but yeah, I was just like running around, doing side quests, killing everything around me, and then there was the end boss, and I was like, oh, was this it? I have no idea what the story was about in Skyrim.
Yeah, I mean, it's really light. Go kill dragons. You know, I mean, there's a lot more to it than that, obviously, but it's not as heavy of a storyline as things like Off or Undertale or things like that. Other types of games.
Will features that were visible in both games be in other games you create, so people can connect the features to your studio?
Yes. So if you look at Champions of Breakfast, the backgrounds, in the living room level, you'll actually see Baron from Heartbound laying on the floor sleeping and dreaming. There's also the kitchen from Champions of Breakfast is the same kitchen from Heartbound. So there's a lot of carryover stuff like that, and in Heartbound there's a couple of call-outs to Champions of Breakfast as well. And we do have a third game planned for after we finish Heartbound that will include some of the characters from Heartbound and like kind of expand on that. I really like the idea of tying worlds together. So the joke about Champions of Breakfast is that it's like jokingly Lore's house when he goes to bed, and this is the war that happens after hours, after everyone's asleep.
I got the joke when I played Champions of Breakfast, and yeah, all those little picture thingies in the living room and all. It was pretty funny. And then you sent the first screenshot of Heartbound in my server, and I was like, hey, that dog, I have seen that before.
Yep. Oh, also the painting in the hallway is the same painting from the living room level.
Well, that's yeah. I did notice the photos, but I haven't played Champions of Breakfast for a while now.
You should check it out. We added a bunch of new stuff for Thanksgiving. There's like 4 new boss passes, and I plan to keep releasing like power-ups and levels and stuff for Champions of Breakfast
Well,
forever.
I have to play it after the interview.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, definitely.
I have
it's
to.
a fun game.
Otherwise, people will watch here as a black screen and then hear us talking.
That works out. It's a tough game, though. I'm telling you, it's not easy.
Yeah, but still. Yeah, I'm out of questions. I mean, I have the question 16, but there is nothing there. So, do you want to say anything else?
I just want to say thank you, for having me on and doing this. It's really cool. And, if you're into difficult arcade games, go play Champions of Breakfast. It's on Steam. It's $5, real cheap. And I put it on sale all the time, so if you don't have $5, and in fact, if you don't have $5, you really can't afford the game, contact me on Twitter, and I will give you the game. Like, it's really not that big of a deal to me. Our Twitter is PirateSoftware _ because we couldn't get PirateSoftware, so @PirateSoftware _. Hit me up, talk to me about that game. And if you want to play Heartbound, it's on Greenlight right now, and you can go download the alpha and play around with it. There's a couple different storyline paths you can do, and really mess around with the game and just kind of see what we're doing. So yeah, that's about it.
Well, thank you guys for watching this video, and yeah, I think we will be back when Heartbound is on Kickstarter.
Yeah,
Yay!
eventually.
Yes.